Hello students, myself Sheetal Mishra, Assistant Professor, Bharati University, Durg, Chhattisgarh. Okay. In our last videos, we have discussed the chapter heat transfer, and now we will discuss drying. Okay. As you know that drying means the moisture removal process from any material. According to the scientific definition, that it is the process of removal of water or any other liquids that is present in a wet solid, and it is removed by the application of heat just to obtain the dry solid or the solid product. Okay. Drying is a downstream process and it is commonly utilized in the last stage of the process. That's why drying process has its own considerable importance. Okay, means it is the precursive step just before the final step of any process. Drying means the complete dryness or a condition just known as air dry. Okay, normally in general drying process it involves two operations, that is first one will be heat transfer and second one is mass transfer. Okay, drying of a solid does not mean complete removal of moisture, but sometimes it is desirable to retain a little moisture in the solid after drying. Okay, but that product will be considered as dried and the final product must be solid. Okay, and in our second line we have learned that, we have read it, the drying process involves two operations. First one is heat transfer and second one is mass transfer, and that is accompanied by phase transformations. Okay, so one phase is getting converted into other phase. This is known as drying. The drying process involves, the first one is the energy transfer from an external source to the water or other liquid, जिसको हम कह रहे हैं heat transfer. Second one is the phase transformation or the mass transfer. It will be explained like this: the phase transformation of water or other liquid from a liquid state to vapor state. When any liquid is getting converted into vapor, so it is getting phase transform. Okay, phase transfer हो रहा है उसका, जब वो एक लिक्विड फेस में है, जब उसको हीट किया जा रहा है हीटिंग मीडियम के थ्रू, तो दैट लिक्विड इज गेटिंग कन्वर्टेड इनटू वेपर फॉर्म. ओके, दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नोन एज फेस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन. General three methods of drying that we use today are: first one is the sun drying. You know that, a method in which the material dry naturally by the help of the sun. Second one is hot air drying, in which the materials are exposed to a blast of hot air, that is known as hot air drying. And third one is your freeze drying. In freeze drying, the frozen materials are placed in a vacuum chamber to draw out the water. Okay, so this was the three basic methods of drying. And now we can distinguish drying and evaporation. Both are having different phenomena. Okay, so let us see what is the difference between drying and evaporation. So you can see that I have drawn a table between drying and evaporation. So what is drying? The first point, in drying process the main operation usually carried out on solid materials. Okay, हम ड्राई किसको करेंगे? उन सॉलिड्स को विच कंटेन moisture, okay, or that has some water molecules. But in evaporation, the main operation usually carried out on the liquid materials. That is, example is solution or products. Evaporation, what happens in evaporation? We take a liquid material, okay, which has to be get in the concentrated form, जिसका हमको concentrated form चाहिए, जिससे हमको liquid remove करना है, liquid का concentration कम करना है, और solid हमें viscous form में चाहिए. That process is known as evaporation. Then the first basic difference, you can see that drying process is carried out on solid material, but the evaporation is carried out on liquid material. Okay. Second is, in most of the cases in drying, it means the removal of relatively small amounts of water. Okay. But in evaporation, just opposite, large amounts of water from the solution. Just because जो solids है उनमें बहुत स्मॉल अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर प्रेजेंट है, उसको हमको रिमूव करना है, तो दैट प्रोसेस विल बी ड्राइंग. लेकिन इवेपोरेशन में क्या होता है, इट इज़ कैरीड आउट ऑन द लिक्विड मटेरियल. इवेपोरेशन प्रोसेस होता ही लिक्विड्स के साथ है, तो दैट है द रिमूवल ऑफ द वाटर अमाउंट्स is very large as compared to drying process. Third one is, drying involves the removal of water at temperature below its boiling points. ना अब इसमें क्या हो रहा है कि जब ड्राइंग प्रोसेस किसी सॉलिड के साथ हो रहा है तो यहाँ पर वाटर को बॉईल होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. यहाँ से क्या सिर्फ फेज कन्वर्ट हो रहा है, तो जो बहुत कम अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर है दैट नेवर रीचेस अप टू इट्स बॉइलिंग पॉइंट्स, अदरवाइज आवर प्रोडक्ट विल गेट डिटेरियोरेट. ओके. But what happens in evaporation? It involves the removal of water by boiling a solution. जब तक हम उस लिक्विड को, उस सॉल्यूशन को बॉईल नहीं करेंगे तो evaporation नहीं होगा. लिक्विड विल नॉट गेट कन्वर्टेड इनटू इन द वेपर फेज. ठीक है. हमको जैसा प्रोडक्ट चाहिए वैसा प्रोडक्ट के लिए हमको evaporation में क्या करना है, we have to boil that solution. Last one is, in drying, water is usually removed by circulating air over the material in order to carry away the water vapor. Okay. While in evaporation, water is removed from the material as pure water vapor mixed with the other gases. So this was the basic difference between the drying and the evaporation. Okay. After the difference, what can be the objectives of drying? Okay. What is the need to dry any material? So we can say that first, the primary objective of drying operation is what? Removal of the solvent to meet the specification in any product. Okay. In the case of a drug or any APIs, API is what? Active pharmaceutical ingredient. Okay. So the acceptable level of residual solvent may be set according to the safety, regulatory or stability requirement. Means the amount of moisture that is acceptable in any APIs or in any drug. It may be, it is according to the safety, regulatory and the stability requirements. Okay. Next one is, other objective for drying is what? To achieve or maintain a specified crystallographic forms. So in most of the cases, the desirable form may have been produced during crystallization of any product. Okay. So it is important not to effect any change in the form during the drying operation. So each and every product is having its own crystal forms. Okay. So right from the drying process, that at the time the drying process has been started, there must be no deterioration in the shape of the crystals that the individual molecule is having. Okay. Now next one is, to improve the handling characteristics, as in bulk powder filling and other operations involving powder flow, it ensures the free flowing properties. Okay. What the drying process is giving to us, it improves the free flowing properties of the powders, and it is also important to stabilize the moisture sensitive material. Okay. So this was the basic objectives of drying. Let us see what are the applications of drying. You can see that it is written over here. First one is the preservation of drug products. Second is preparation of bulk drugs. Third one is improved handling. Fourth one is improved characteristics. Then reduction in the transport cost. Then purification of crystalline products. And last one is the prevention of corrosion. These all are applications of drying. Okay. Let us see first preservation of drugs. Preservation of drugs. So drying is necessary just to avoid the deterioration. If any moisture is present in our product, then it may lead to microbial contamination, which ultimately deteriorate our product. Okay. Some of the examples of the products which may lead to deterioration if there is any moisture present in that, like blood products, tissues that undergo microbial growth, effervescent tablets, synthetic and semi-synthetic drugs that undergo chemical decomposition. Okay. Okay, in this preservation of drug, what happened? Some of the examples we can see that the crude drugs which is of animal and vegetable origin, it will lead to chemical decomposition. Okay, now all the blood products, skin, tissues, that again lead to microbial growth. Synthetic and semi-synthetic drug will chemically decompose. Effervescent tablets like aspirin, penicillins, these all are effervescent tablets. Okay, it will also chemically decompose. Okay, so this was the first application of drying, that is preservation of drug or drug products. Next one is preparation of bulk drugs. So what happened here? In the preparation of bulk drugs, drying is the final stage of processing. Example like dried aluminum hydroxide, spray dried lactose, powdered extracts. These all are the examples of preparation of bulk drug. Okay, so drying step is essential after certain operations such as crystallization and filtration. After these, at least crystallization and filtration, we have to dry the residual product. Okay, now third one is improved characteristics. What happens in improved characteristics? As the name itself suggests, the characteristics of the product is getting improved by that. Like when the product is getting dried, it must be of spherical shape, uniform size, free flowing and enhanced solubility. Okay, so the granules which are prepared just before the just in case of the tablet formulation. Okay, when we are preparing any tablet, we prepare what? The granules first, and that is after the preparation of granules, it is dried, and after getting it dried, we compress it. Okay, so when the granules are dried, to improve the fluidity and compression characteristics. Okay, so these are essential for the production of the tablets and capsules. Second one is viscous and the sticky materials are not free flowing. So drying modifies their characteristics. Like example, the fern extract, malt extract, etc. These all are the best example of improved characteristics. Okay. Next one is improved handling. What do you mean by improved handling? In this, the when the material is getting dried, it becomes very light in weight and reduces the bulk. Thus, its transportation cost will be less and the storage will be efficient. Okay. But if the moisture is present, the size reduction of the drugs is difficult and the drying reduces the moisture content. Okay, students. This was all for our today's section. Rest of the part will continue in our next video. Thank you.